Yep, doing what's right can be difficult at times, but we gotta be brave. We gotta be brave and do what's right. And the Bible has a lot to say about this. So right now, let's get our Bible breakdown with Gavin.
Remember that story that I shared earlier about my friend talking bad about another friend? Here's what happened that day. The three of us were all hanging out and had a ton of fun. We basically stayed up all night playing video games, drinking Mountain Dew, and scarfing down pizza rolls. We were living the dream. Well, it was getting late, and one of my friends had to go home, so the rest of the night was just two of us. But as soon as our one friend left, my other friend started talking bad about the friend who literally just left the house. He started talking about how annoying he was and that it wasn't all that fun being around him. That was making me feel a little uncomfortable. As you know, it's not right to talk bad about anyone behind their back. And as scary and as awkward as it was, I knew I needed to talk to him about it. Even though I was super nervous, I told my friend that it's not a good idea to talk about people behind their back, especially your own friend. Well, he actually listened and even apologized. It was all good. But I'm not gonna lie to you, that took some crazy courage for me to do the right thing. But as difficult as that was, I can't even imagine the courage it took David in the Bible to face off against a stinking giant. This is one of my favorite stories in the Bible. So the nation of Israel, God's people, were being threatened by another group of people called the Philistines. Now, the Philistines were a rough group of people that wanted nothing more than to conquer the nation of Israel in whatever ways they could. The Philistines marched their whole army up to where the Israelites were, so you can imagine the Israelites in a line over here and all the Philistines over here in the most intense staring contest of all time. Now, to scare the Israelites, the Philistines sent over a giant named Goliath to mock and threaten them. But guys, when I say giant, I mean it. This guy was almost 10 feet tall. The armor he was wearing was about 125 pounds. This guy was monstrous. He started walking back and forth and taunting the Israelites, saying,
"Choose a man and have him face me. If he is able to fight and kill me, then we will surrender ourselves to you. But if I beat up and kill him, then you must surrender to us."
Who in the world would want to face a 10-foot giant? Who would even stand a chance to this guy? Well, that's exactly what all the Israelites were thinking. They were so terrified. No one even dared to challenge Goliath, not even the king of Israel, King Saul. Goliath kept taunting them day after day for 40 days. All seemed hopeless. Until a young dude named David showed up to the scene. David was bringing food to his brothers who were soldiers. When David got there, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Why was no one standing up to this Goliath guy? What's the deal, people? So what does David do? He screams in terror and wets himself. No, David volunteered. He wasn't scared of any 10-foot giant. You know why? He knew something that the people of Israel were forgetting. They had God on their side. Why should you fear anything when God is with you? So he went and told the king to not worry. He was going to face the giant. The king was like, excuse me? You're just a little kid. This guy has been a warrior his whole entire life. You don't stand a chance. David then explained to the king that while herding sheep, he's fought off bears and even killed lions to protect his herd. He explained that the God who protected him from those lions and bears can surely protect him from a measly little giant. So, the king let him go. David, the youngest of his family, with no armor, no sword, who was probably no more than half the size of this giant, went out to face Goliath. All David had was a little slingshot thing and some rocks. Goliath was like,
Seriously? This is who you send to face me?
But David said to Goliath, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel." David ran out to the battlefield, wound up his slingshot, and struck Goliath right in the forehead. The perfect headshot. Goliath fell to the ground. With one sling of his slingshot, he defeated Goliath. The battle was over, just like that. And as you can imagine, the Israelites were pretty pumped. See, David knew that no matter what battle he was facing, he had God on his side. Time after time, God protected him from lions and bears. God could surely protect him from a giant as well. And God did. David had the courage to stand up to Goliath because he knew that God was with him. God was always with him. In that moment, David knew the right thing to do was to be brave, trust God, and face the giant. Now here's the deal, guys. We will always be in situations that scare us. Maybe not like what David experienced with Goliath, but situations like I had with my friend. It's a situation where you know what the right thing to do is, but don't always have the guts to go through with it. Remember David when you are in those situations. He had courage because he knew that God was with him, and God can do anything. God is always with you. Have courage because God will be with you. So when you're in any situation like that, if you know what the right thing to do is, do it.
So guys, this week you're probably gonna have some difficult situations. Maybe not, but when you do, you know what's right. And you gotta be brave enough to do what's right. So have a great week. Talk about this more in your groups. We'll see you next time.